I cannot believe this is happening again. I cannot believe that people would come into a community, or people that have been in a community and knows who live in that community, and they would come here and just keep pushing people back and back and back. Why would you want to do this to a community that you know need a place like that to shop, to keep their culture? You cannot come into a neighborhood with your l'argent, with your money, and think that you can just take it over. That is ridiculous. How in the world you think you're going to live here without sharing your part with the people that have been here for 50 years? You can't just come into this neighborhood and just rip it off. You got to have a conscience. If you don't have a conscience, what do you have? Huh? How can you tell people, and Whole Food is not that tough anyway. It's a status symbol that you're looking for. Oh, I shop at Whole Food. Where do you shop at?
Whole Foods does not belong in Jamaica Plain. It does not belong. The idea of Whole Foods coming into Jamaica Plain, this is not the problem. The problem is the ongoing gentrification of our community. But this is a major symbol of this gentrification. And I hope it's a wake-up call to all of us who live in this neighborhood. I wore this shirt tonight that has a quote on it that says, "We plant the seeds that one day will grow." And I have a 2-year-old son who has lived his whole life in Jamaica Plain, which isn't that long. He loves high-low, not only because he knows we're going to buy avocados when we go there, but I want us to think about what are the seeds that we're planting for the 2-year-olds today. Is it seeds of culture and community and supporting one another, or is it the seeds of what the previous speaker said, I shop at Whole Foods? So I hope that we can join together in doing what we can to stop this Whole Foods from coming into our neighborhood.
You know, I got a chuckle out of the Whole Foods press release when they said, "We reflect every community that we serve." I have to compete with Whole Foods, as many as you know, and I've been in many Whole Foods, and the thing that never struck me when I went into any Whole Foods was, oh, this reminds me so much of this neighborhood.
Some people are saying, well, is it inevitable that Whole Foods comes? What's some possible compromises? Whole Foods isn't here yet, and it's not inevitable that it comes. So there's no need to make this compromise. People talk about how to make sure it doesn't happen again. The ways to make sure it doesn't happen this time. Because if you let people knock you over one time, then they'll do it over and over again. I think the mandate from this room is clear. And even though there's some talk of compromise, I haven't heard anyone yet cheering, yep, I'm ready to go to Whole Foods. I think it's very easy for JP Neighborhood Council, JPNBC, any other organization to say, we had a room packed with a few hundred people. Everyone was talking about the crime, of the gentrification, of destroying the culture. Whole Foods stay out. We don't need to figure out deals to cut. Someone I came with today pointed out, in JP, we fought a highway from coming through, we fought a Kmart, we can also stop Whole Foods. Thank you.
I've been living in this community for about 19 years now, and I just really want to stress that I personally feel that Whole Foods shouldn't be built here. I think that, thank you. I think that let's be honest, it's gentrification in its being. Once this store comes in, it's gonna raise the value of JP. When we raise the value of an area, people with wealthier money start to think it's a good area to live in, and they come in and a certain amount of people get kicked out.
My first reaction was that JP does not need or want a Whole Foods. The store is much too expensive for a lot of the folks that live in JP and will not serve the needs of the Latino, Caribbean, and low and moderate income residents. It's a huge loss for the whole community. It will contribute to the further gentrification of Hyde Square and JP as a whole. and it starkly symbolizes the shift from a racially and economically diverse JP that we all love and that we all need, to one that is increasingly white and not economically diverse. In the 30 years that I've lived in JP and worked on affordable housing and diversity issues with City Life Leader Urbana, JP has become a more desirable place to live, and people have moved here. It's important for newcomers to know and understand the history of activism in our community. And now that JP is a better and safer place to live, the very people who made it that way can't afford to live and shop here.
Speaker, I hope that not only the Latinos and the working class people who are not going to be able to afford to live here and pay prices the way Whole Foods wants it, but also every Jamaica Plain, old white ones like me, all of you will fight at their side, because they're going to need the political power to stop this and to change this. Thank you.
I would like to stress to the neighborhood council members that basically we need no Whole Food. There are other options of what we can get in Jamaica Plain. We have done it over and over and over again. Always big challenges, but we have done it. We haven't let anyone come and take our neighborhood from us. And this was a quiet year. So imagine that. So please, no Whole